probably for that if she kept on with her drinking obsession.
Because she would have been spending all her money on the beer or the alcohol, so.
Yeah.
Also, when you
Okay, we've known about scientifically the effects of alcohol on the unborn since 1973.
And I think it's a little silly because if we've known about it for like 30, almost 40 years, then how come it's only now and even, not really even now, that we're doing more about it? It's just kind of silly.
What do you guys think the reason would be?
People
Probably
don't want to
because
give up their
I
habits.
want to do what I want to do when I want to do it.
nobody cares.
That too.
Yeah, people don't want to give up their habits just because they might have a baby that they weren't planning on. They're like, I'm not going to stop drinking because I want to drink.
Well, socially, like, like our culture is just like, it's about me. I can be active sexually, and I can drink if I want because they both make me feel good. And it doesn't matter what happens to anyone else or my child. It probably will happen. So
But then
that's just how it is.
And then the poor kid is just.
How many of you guys, before meeting me or Stephen, knew about fetal alcohol syndrome?
I had heard about it a little bit, and I kind of, common sense wise, that's just how I grew up, that it would be a bad idea to drink and drink by itself and be sexually active by itself, but the two together probably wouldn't be a very good idea. And it's kind of common sense, really.
I hadn't heard about it.
I had heard about it, but never known much about it. Just that it's a bad idea to drink and have a baby.
Yep, I had heard a little bit about it, nothing very much on it, so I was kind of just, oh, it's out there, I knew about it, but nothing.
Actually, I think like before I had heard about it, I just always thought that would be a bad idea.
Yeah, that's kind of what I said.
You know, I think you guys hit the nail pretty much on the head with it though.
It's kind of common sense.
It is common sense, but it's what Matthias said. It's a lot about, hey, me, what am I going to do? What do I want to do? You know, when you sit down and live a life and think about a life lived like Stephen, when you think about what his life is like, what he's gone through, and compare that, you know, it's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
And it absolutely. And why haven't we heard more?
Because the majority of people don't want to hear it.
Yeah, they're just shutting their ears to it. They're just.
And if they do hear it, they're not going to care because they're just going to be like, I'm going to keep doing it anyways.
Or they're like, oh, I have one person in one of my classes that's always like, it's something by the government. It's just the government trying to get us to da 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 da, and it's like,
Out of sight, out of mind.
I actually,
Yeah.
honestly, I've heard that. I've heard kids say,
the government.
this is just something the government's trying to do to get us to stop drinking. I've heard that from kids.
Yeah.
Wow.
And with
Doesn't
Stephen
surprise
standing
me.
right there,
Yuck.
and
How
then
thick-headed do you have to be?
and then they
Goodness.
came into the classroom, and I made a point of talking about this is a real deal, guys. Or this is a real deal.
Yeah.
About
That's what kind of insulting it was.
what was out there when Matt started this project, started thinking about this project. There was nothing out there like this.
So
No.
like everything, was it all like PowerPoints like this? It's FAS, those boring ones. I hate those boring ones.
What they used to do at Fargo North, when they wanted someone to talk about fetal alcohol syndrome, they used to invite someone from Cass County Public Health to come in
Okay.
and
Did
talk.
they know anything?
Well,
Well,
you can go
that's
do
counterproductive.
you can go do the research and find the information
That too.
and talk about it. But what is more effective,
It's
Stephen?
be more effective if you had Steve in there, because with the county official, that even gives those kids who say, oh, it's the government, oh, it's the government. That just gives them more reason to say, oh, it's the government. But when you see the kid actually there and you say, oh, it's the government, people are just going to think, really, this person's stupid. They haven't got a clue. And then they're probably going to listen to Stephen more than the county official,
Well,
because it's the real deal.
It's a little more close to home when you see a person that's actually affected and someone's like, I mean, it's pretty obvious too. It's
Yeah.
not like, he's normal. I don't see what the big deal is, because there's obviously a big deal.
It is a big deal.
Yeah.
I mean, and like, if looking at Steven doesn't like change their minds, looking at the damage it would do your pocketbook, probably would, because they're like money, 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 mine, and I'm gonna buy it on what I want and stuff. But if they have a kid and they drink and that sort of thing while they're carrying the kid, then it's gonna mean all that stuff they're not gonna be able to do. Like if they're planning to, like maybe travel somewhere, but all that money's going to be going to the kids, so they're not gonna get to go. So it'd just ruin it, and it would. But then if you didn't drink and then you had a healthy kid, then you could have a fun family vacation and go to like maybe Europe or Canada, if you so wish.
But the first vacation I had was after Stephen graduated from high school, and Randy, they were in a group home. That's the first real vacation I had. Other than that, I've never really gone, didn't dare go too far. Because I was close by.
Yeah, because if you go too far away and you don't have any help if something happens, and
well, it was a life-altering thing for us, and it did. Seriously, this was and we were prepared to do it. Think about that. Now, and that's something you should respond to too. We made the choice to adopt Stephen and Randy.
yeah, and it's generous people like you guys who pretty much saved those kids from probably die, because Stephen, when he was in the coma with his mom, when he was in a coma because they were not eating and she was drinking, and so like he could have died if and then for the back and forth thing with his family members,
You guys have all been affected by Stephen, right?
Yeah.
And you've like directly seen what FAS is, and you know a lot more about it. So if some random person, let's say somebody from your school, was to come up and say, "Hey, you know about FAS? Why do you know about it? What changed your viewpoint on it?" How would you respond to them?
Well, I would tell them about Stephen and like how here.
Yeah.
I would tell them about Stephen really and like how much it's hurt him and it's hurt people like his family and how much alcohol pretty much ruins people's lives because of this sort of thing. And like he could have been a healthy, happy, and he is healthy and is happy. Not that that's anything wrong with that, but he could have been like he has the steel rods up his back, and so like if he falls and something happens and it jars one of those the rods, he could get seriously hurt. And it's all because of alcohol that happens. And so I don't think that it would be a good idea, and that's my viewpoint on it. So what about you guys?
I would say just seeing firsthand of how it actually affected a person, how it's actually caused him to have troubles in his life with all from his heart and his back, having surgeries on that. So
yeah, and it's not good, really. It's not a good thing.
Also, as the experience of life that he can actually experience, like, I mean, I want to be an audio engineer. Say, like, the chances of him ever becoming that, having to work with, high tech, just being honest, I don't know if that's ever would really happen for him. I mean, he shreds
Probably
paper
wouldn't.
for a living.
Yeah. I mean, like, because he can't process the high tech stuff, so all he's going to be able to do is shredding paper, probably stapling paper, and that's all he'll ever do. And that's very tragic, actually, because, like, he could have, who knows, if his mother hadn't have drunk alcohol, I mean, he could have figured out the cure for cancer. And, so it's very sad, really. But instead of finding out cures for cancer and stuff because his mom drank alcohol, he's now shredding paper for a living. It's sad.
Yeah. Okay. I would just say that, drinking and being pregnant at the same time is not a good idea, and drinking in excess at any time is not a good idea because it puts at risk anyone that you would have as a child, and it kind of destroys their life. It takes away from them all the opportunities they would have had to do a lot of things, like have a family of their own and learn fun stuff like that involves technology and earning a living and going places that it kind of ties them down and they're stuck and they have to be within range of medical help, and it's just not it kind of destroys their life. It's not a very good idea.
Yeah. It's not good at all.
And one of the things about it is he's very good at shredding paper
Yeah.
because
He's very good at
he
it.
does not, he's not bored with it. Like you or I would be bored shredding paper. He's not bored with it. He's very good at shredding paper. You know, and I mean, it's unfortunate that that's all.
He'll ever be able to do
He'll ever
really.
I'm glad he's happy though.
Well, he is
Yeah.
happy. If you set him in a room full of paper, he would shred it all.
And then
And he
he'd probably
wouldn't
go
stop.
looking for if there's more.
Yeah. Well, if the machine broke, he'd come out and get you and tell you the machine's broke.
Huh?
I mean, he does. He's not.
He's not stupid. He's smart.
No. I mean, he does have some ability, but it's just very limited in what he's capable of doing. But it is sad. It's overwhelming. I don't think about it because, you know, we had up to 9 kids in the house, so it was kind of like, it was just another kid. It didn't really make any difference. You took care of them. You did the best you could.
Yeah.
You know, part of the reason I am like I am is probably because of Stephen. Just the way I act and pay attention with Stephen, you have to learn to communicate well.
Yes.
So
Because if you communicate something wrong to him, he's gonna get the wrong idea, and
what if he's sick?
yeah.
The example would be this. Stephen had a temperature one night. Had I not done something about it that night, if I didn't recognize that evening, by morning he would be dehydrated so bad that he'd be in the hospital. We went through that for a number of years, where if we didn't catch it soon enough, he was in the hospital.
That would be a lot of hospital bills.
He can't tell you. Do you know the first indication that Stephen had an ear infection was usually the blood running out of his ear?
Ah.
Because he
Because
never
he couldn't
said.
tell you.
Well, his pain threshold was very high too. He cracked a bone in his leg, and it was a week before we figured out something was wrong.
He's got some tolerance.
It wasn't. I mean, we noticed something was out of sort. So
Yeah, because he would be walking funny, and because it wouldn't.
pain. We recognized the pain.
Yeah, that too. But
New topic. We talk about it before you respond. Okay. Why, with the resource of Stephen and people willing to do presentations on fetal alcohol syndrome, don't we see more programs in our local schools talking about this exact thing? As important as it is, what is keeping it from happening? Because I honestly, you guys know I've done presentations for years, and it's always one classroom at a time.
People like their beer.
That and
Yeah.
people are afraid to bring up controversial subjects
Yeah,
in schools because they're afraid, oh, I'll get fired for having this in my
Exactly.
school or this in my classroom, or, you know,
Yeah.
people won't like it if I say that they shouldn't do this because
And
they
then-
like doing that,
yeah.
you know, drinking or anything else, any other smoking or drugs or
Yeah.
religion in schools or anything like that.
Yeah, because like it would, like, people are afraid of, oh, if I, exactly what he said, really. And then also that, and some of the teachers themselves maybe have some alcohol issue, or they like to drink and they don't want to hear about it, so they just say, well, I'm the authority here, and so who cares? And that's really sad, really, because, you know, it's all this important information, and because that one person is selfish, nobody's going to hear about it, and then that's probably a few other lives ruined, really. So it's sad.
They only want to hear maybe just the good news, not the bad news. They don't want to actually see what would happen if you had alcohol while you just kind of want to keep the status quo and want to keep it how they like it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No
they won't
change.
want
They're
to.
afraid of change.
What can you do to change this?
We can become teachers and that sort of thing, and make sure that laws are passed, or we can become law. It's really in our hands, really, because we're the next year's, like, sort of, we're next generation's teachers, next generation's government, we can make these